What's behind your head? Does that say Black? Ah, I thought it said Black Sabbath.
Oh, yeah, it should.
All right, you got to take it down, man. It doesn't say that.
Hey, Chad, what episode is this, Chad?
This is episode number 110.
As in decibels.
110 is going to be fucking loud.
You know it.
This is going to be the loudest one we did.
Why is it going to be so loud, fellas?
Vinny Appice.
A hero to us all.
Yes.
This is going to be weird to say, but I've been listening to Vinny for 40 years.
I bet.
Yeah. Crazy. Look at you. Queens.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There's a funny thing about the Irish is that they will take your name or they will take a pronunciation and they will make it their own. I.e. words like film, they film. It's a film. And even our own, speaking of Phil Lynott, we grew up saying Lynott. Phil Lynott. Lynott, right? And it's Phil would say it's lie not, like why not? Phil would say, but the Irish take it into, and the English do that as well. The English, they make up their own pronunciation. Anyway, you can't see this. You probably can't see this because I can barely make this out. But I dug this up. But that's 1984.
I recognize that drum set.
Yeah, it's the only drum kit of its kind. 1984 in the
exactly
Dublin. Vinny Appice with Dio, Vivian Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
yep.
I tell a lie. I don't. Who was on the Holy Diver?
Vivian.
No,
Jimmy Bain. Vinny.
Yeah, Bain. I was right, and that's
Yep.
See that? Vivian Campbell.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. I'm Patrick. Pleasure to meet you.
Patrick, what's behind your head? Does that say Black? Ah, what's that say? Blaggards?
Blaggards.
Okay, I thought it said Black Sabbath.
Oh, yeah, it should.
All right, you got to take it down, man. It doesn't say
that. I got you covered, Vin.
There you go. Okay, what's your name?
Eric. We met at NAMM a couple years ago.
Okay, Eric and Patrick.
Yeah, and I'm Chad.
Chad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Just while we're here, this is the first time I met you.
Well, they spelled Queens right really good, didn't they?
Yeah, we were just talking about that. Yeah, they take it upon themselves to spell it as they hear it or they
oh
feel
my
it.
God, yeah. Some of those posters are terrible.
Yeah,
locals make, So, all right.
Cool.
Okay.
Thrilled to meet you. Anyway.
Oh, thank you, man.
We've just been chomping at the bit, ready to go. So I'm just honestly, just you're so gracious to give us some of your time. We truly appreciate it.
Oh,
and
thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. So I want to start by the first time I was introduced to you was with Dio. Queensryche opened. It was the SFX in Dublin, and
okay.
And Scott Rockenfield had that drum kit with the chains on it, and we were just 16 years old, like just mind blowing.
Right.
But then you came out, and I heard what drums sound like, and I've never forgot it. I mean, Scott's great drummer, but Vinny Appice came out, and we ribcage, shook. From to the core.
Good. Love it.
Yeah.
I like to play. From years ago, I said, you know what? I'm going to play with a lot of power. So I can build the power all the way up, and then I can come down when I need to. I don't play, I play dynamically. I don't play just all one level. So, I have a lot of power, and it's real emotional when I play, and I kind of get pissed off, and I kick the shit out of the bass drum and all that stuff. I like everybody to feel it, especially the band that's in front of me, to feel those drums, because I'm inside. I usually play inside the song. I don't play on top of the song or along with the song. I'm like the heart, So So luckily I did that a long time ago. So I got a lot of power, and I don't need to hit really hard. You know, it's mostly in the wrist, the wrist snapping, and then put the arm into it for even more power. So, but well, thanks for that. Yeah, and Scott Rockenfield's a great drummer. Great stuff.
Cool.
Who's next?
Yes, Eric.
Oh, you raise your hand?
I do. We in this group we have we do this once a week, and we have a tendency to talk over each other. So, and it's mostly Patrick's fault because he's the Irishman and he likes to talk so much. So, but are you still you're still doing the thing with the stick in the middle of the fingers too, right? You're still doing that every now and then?
No, I stopped that. I was playing. It's not a stick, but it's a pencil.
Yeah.
I was playing like that.
Yeah.
And my brother showed me that, and I thought, that's cool. That's interesting. So you could switch back and forth. I only did it with the right hand, and it relieves a little bit of tension if you're playing one way, like the regular way, and it's a little tight. You go this way, and it's a little bit easier to play, not as much control. And so I was doing that for years, built up quite a callus there. But then one day before a clinic, I was waiting and I'm spinning the stick, twirling, and all of a sudden my finger went, ah! It was killing me. So I thought, I'm not going to play like that anymore. So now I went back to match, and once in a while I'll switch, but not for very long.
Yeah.
It's not good because
Awesome.
you're hitting the bone of your finger that way. So it's an odd way to play. But Carmine still does it.
How was your brother doing?
He's doing good. We do a show actually tonight. It's called Hangin and Bangin, Artists on Lockdown, at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Tonight we got Kenny Aronoff and Simon Kirk on the show.
Whoa.
And it's with Ron Anesti from the Akata Theater in St. Charles, Illinois. It's a really good show. We have a lot of fun. We have all different guests every week, kind of like what you guys are doing. So, if you're around, check it out. 4 p.m. California time. Hangin and Bangin. Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
So how ready are you to get back out and play live, Vinny, at this point? You getting stir crazy like
I'm ready. I'm ready. It's just not the time exactly right yet. A lot of things are still not open fully, and they can't make up their mind what's going on with this vaccine, all this stuff. So I'll be ready. Luckily, on Tuesday at 4 p.m., I've been doing my own drum show for my drum company called Sawtooth, which I do back here as a poster. And it's a cool show. It wound up being a lot of fun. I got a crazy intro that I change all the time, and then I play to some songs, and I teach a little bit, tell some stories of Sabbath and Dio and whatever, take questions, and it's an hour show. I've been doing it like 8 months already. So that has kept me in good shape because it forces me for Monday. Tuesday's a show, so Monday I got to get on the drums and loosen up if I didn't for some reason. Or the pad, I got the pad out and all that shit. So luckily that's kept me in shape. But I still haven't played a 90-minute set all the way.
The test.
Playing in June with my friends, we do it like a Sabbath night. And this is in Ohio, around Cincinnati. So that'll be the first gig that I'll play a whole set. So if I fall over, then I didn't make it. I'm strong. I'm fine.
You said at the beginning about you talking about playing with power, and you play in the song, and that's 100% evident from everything I've ever seen. And I saw a couple of your Sawtooth videos, which are just phenomenal. And I knew how easygoing you were. I knew how funny you were, and how gracious like I said, gracious with your time. But when you said that you play in the song, you also said in a few of your interviews about when you're playing with Dio and you would play over the vocals, and you said that he never said anything about it. I think about that often because when I hear drummers play over it, and I don't have anything against Metallica, but I can't stand when the drum fill doesn't make sense. Or excuse me. So
Right.
if it like when it's that square peg in the round, your drum fills again. I'm a frustrated drummer. Your fills speak to the song. They speak to the feel of the song, and even when you do a different, you're not doing the same phrase. You're taking something that you wrote and you're putting that moment, that new moment into it. It fits and it
Right.
speaks to the song, and so I think I couldn't agree more with your, that you play in the song. There's very few drummers that I listen
Yeah.
to.
Okay. I start fills in odd places where no fill has gone before. It's like Star Trek. But I'll feel it. See, I play by feel and inspiration and stuff. I don't just play and go, oh, it's time for fill, bop out of the home, and do these lame vanilla fills. You know, I build up. That's why I'm in the song, and I feel, well, this should be built up here going into the chorus the second time more, and just slam it in there. And it's all from within. It's not just a fill. It comes from my gut, and I'm right in there. With Ronnie, it was easy, hearing him sing, and you play, and he starts going for it, and you go, "Fuck yeah!" And then it just inspires me to kick the shit out of it. But he never said the Holy Diver. I listened to what this fills over the vocal line, but they work together, and I never even were aware of playing over a vocal line. I just played in the song. Until I played later on with some band with my friend Rex Brown from Pantera. We was trying to do a couple of different things, and the singer said, "You played over my vocal line." And I said, "So?" And I went, "What?" I've never been
And you said, I'm going to do it again
told that.
tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll do it more. Don't worry about it. But I've never been told that. And that was a shock to me. I didn't even think about that because I played with Ronnie so many years, and we just played together, and I played over his vocal line. Maybe we could say Ronnie sang over my drum parts.
Yeah.
There you
But,
go.
But I play in the song. I do sessions here too, and for different people, and they send me the song. I don't just play the song. I'll listen to it, then I'll play it, see what works. Then I try to get the vibe of the song, or it's like a painter, like the colors and stuff, and that gets me in the song. Things that you wouldn't hear, and after I do it a couple of times, I listen. I hear parts I didn't even hear in the beginning. Oh, that's what's happening. Okay, and I'll get in there. So I'm in the songs, all the songs. I'm not on. A lot of drummers play on top of the songs. I don't do that.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So you, in a way, you kind of cut your teeth partially in the studio, right? Because the record plant played a big role early on with you.
Yeah. That was what, I was like 16, 15 and a half, 16 when we hooked up with the record plant.
Yeah.
And before that, I practiced like a lot, I'd come home from school. I would go down in the basement in Brooklyn, New York, practice, played with some records. And then after dinner, I would go on the pad and do my lessons. I was going for lessons on the pad only. So I took it very seriously, and then I played with a few bands, and then hooked up with the band I was in with the record plant. And that's where I learned how to record a little more, because when I went in, they played a little bit. They said, "Well, you're kind of Russian." And I never thought of that, because live, it's rushed naturally on some of it. And they put up a metronome light. Now, wow, it's hard to play to a light. It's easy to play to a click. So I watched the light, and I played, and then I learned. I learned how to live in the studio.
Yeah.
So it was a great learning experience. And the engineer was Jimmy Iovine. He was a good friend. He got me started, basically. Brought me in there. We met John Lennon. We did some stuff with John Lennon. And that's where I met Rick Derringer, my first touring band and stuff. So
Yeah.
It was cool. Great time.
Yeah. It was only just recently that I learned, because I'd seen that footage from the Lou Grade, the tribute to Lou Grade show that you did with John. I'd seen it so many times that it was just like it was last year. I figured that's Vinny.
Yeah, that's Vinny.
The crazy suit with the two faces and stuff. It's so
well,
cool.
John, the show was about Sir Lou Grade, and John thought he was two-faced.
Right.
They told us he wants us to go on with a mask made of our face, and we'll put it on back, no hair, and we wear black shiny jumpsuits. He wears a red one. So we actually got in the van with him to go get the mask made. He came with us. I mean, It was like hanging out. We got the mask made. Then we all went together again to get the jumpsuits fitted. And it was a black tie affair at the New York Hilton. Like the mayor was there, Shirley MacLaine, all these actors and actresses. And then they introduced John Lennon and etc. They called us etc. And we come out, the curtain opens, and they're all like, oh my God, the hell is that? 9 guys with 4 horn players, 2 faces on, no hair. And John, it was great. John shocked them again. And then I found out not long ago that was his last live appearance.
Yeah.
I read that in a magazine. It mentioned John, it mentioned me, and it said this was John's last live public appearance. And I went, holy shit, really? I was 16 years old. I used to go to high school. I said, I wind up playing John Lennon's last show. Who would have thought? I didn't even know that for years. Yeah. And that was even more of a wow.
Right.
That was more wow, I did that. I should get more money per gig. No kidding.
Yeah. So is it true? I heard this great story that you walked out of class the next day after that show.
Well, what happened was, I would be hanging out with John Lennon because he used to come up. We had a rehearsal room at the record plant because we were managed by them. So we were there all the time. Jimmy was producing us, and we go in the studio and cut some songs. And then after what happened, Jimmy called us, said, we need some hand claps in the studio. Can you guys come down? We went down. We walk in the room, and it's John Lennon. I go, holy shit. We put the headphones on. Then he starts talking to us. Now he's right in your ears, talking to you, right? And you've heard his voice so many times, and I'm like, holy shit. So we did hand claps to Whatever Gets You Through the Night. That's me and my band on that song. And and then we finished and we said hello. I don't think anybody took pictures or had a camera or any of that. And then we left and we went back upstairs and we're all freaking out. And John must have wondered, where did we come from? 9 guys all of a sudden for hand claps in 5 minutes. Yeah. So then Jimmy probably told me they're upstairs, the rehearsal room I'm producing. A couple of days later, John walks into rehearsal, sits down on the step, he's watching us play. He really liked us. He used to come all the time. He used to kind of smoke joints with him, and it was amazing, So from what I heard, he was thinking of maybe using us as his next band because we were really good, and we 4 horns. We had the whole thing ready pretty much if he wanted to use us. We were writing originals, and we were tight. So so I used to do that at night, then going to school the next day. It was like going from color world into black and white. I'd be sitting there going, I don't want to learn this shit, and I'd be banging on the desk, drumming on the desk, and then the teacher would go, who's that drumming? She's trying to teach, and I'm annoying her. Who's that drumming? She goes, Vincent, stop that drumming. And I would stand up and go, excuse me, anyone else in this room play with one of the Beatles last night? And I got up and walked out. Right?
I love that.
You couldn't concentrate on school when you're thinking, wow, last night was amazing. And John did this. He even rewrote some lyrics for us. And
wow.
Now a guitar player sang on Walls and Bridges album, some background parts. So it was really cool. It was a great experience.
That's such a trip because I love that record too. And I didn't even know, this is how much I didn't read the liner notes. I didn't even know that Jimmy Iovine was on that session, that he was part of that. John is credited as the producer, but obviously Jimmy was engineering it. But
Yeah.
I think
Jimmy
it was just,
did all those people, and then our guitar player knew him, and then I don't know how he heard us. I forgot, but he really liked us, and he said, "I'll bring you in the record plant, do some demos," and the demos came out great. That was really cool. So, and in that studio, that's where I met Rick Derringer, which was my first touring band. Jimmy, I think Rick was recording there, and Jimmy was doing something to our mixes. I wasn't even there, and Rick heard it and said, "Who's that drummer?" And Jimmy said, "That's Vinny Appice, Carmine's younger brother." I said, "Wow, that sounds good, man." So next time I saw him, he got my number. Said, "I'm going to put a band together. Give me a number. I'll call you. I'd love to jam, put something together." So 6 months later, he called, and we got that band going. Being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. Jack Douglas produced Rick Derringer when you were with him too, right?
On the second album.
On the second one.
Just the first one, yeah. If you listen to the two albums, the first one's kind of lighter sounding. Drums are thinner, there's not a lot of reverb. It wasn't the big drum sound. The second album, what's it called? Sweet Evil. Jack produced, and it was really dark, big fat sound and stuff,
Yeah.
It was cool. Jack was great to work with.
Yeah. Well, that was cool too, because he hadn't produced John yet, but he was fixing to in a couple of years.
Yeah, Dad, he was doing Aerosmith, and so it was a great place to be hanging out.
No kidding.
Why go to school? Yeah.
So the other John connection I thought was really interesting is that after you joined Sabbath, I heard that the first actual session you did with Sabbath was at John Lennon's old recording studio in his house.
Yeah, we were on tour in England, and they wanted us to do. This is the Heaven and Hell tour, 1980. They wanted us to do a song for the movie Heavy Metal, and they agreed to do it. We had 2 days off, 2 or 3 days off in England. So we went to John Lennon's house, which was owned by Ringo now because John passed. And that's where John shot Imagine. So it's like, holy shit, go to this mansion, big ground, lot of grounds. All the hedges were cut like animals, like T-Rexes, 20 feet high hedges. It was just a killer place, Big wooden staircase, going upstairs. That's where the drums were, right there, and the drums were float. The sound was going all the way up to all the stairs and the wood and everything. And that's where we wrote and recorded Mob Rules in 2-3 days. And then when they gave out keys when we arrived, I got John's room, which is freaky, right? I'm the only one with a tie to John. I got his room. But I didn't stay there because he just passed, and I'm like, I've seen too many Frankenstein movies when I grew up.
Right. Yeah.
It's like his ghost of John is going to come visit me. Although his ghost would be cool.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, no question.
That would have been cool. But I didn't stay in that room. But everywhere we looked around, we had to open a closet door, all his Beatles platinum albums and Beatles stuff fall out. Holy shit, Even Tony and Geezer and Ronnie are like freaking out, Amazing place.
That's amazing.
Very cool.
Amazing.
Vinny, speaking of Black Sabbath and Mob Rules in Heaven and Hell, it's 40th anniversary year this time, and it just re-released both those records. You want to talk a little bit about how you got the call to join the guys?
Well, I was actually before that I got a call to join Ozzy's band. Sharon Osbourne called me and said she was putting a band together around Ozzy, and Ozzy was pretty much drinking a lot back then. And do I want to fly to England to meet Ozzy, hang out, and see how we get along? I said, I was like 20 years old. I'd never been out of the country except for Canada. So I asked my brother Carmine, because they toured together with Black Sabbath and Cactus, I think. And I said, is Ozzy crazy, man? Should I be going all the way over there to do this? Or what's up? He goes, yeah, he's pretty crazy, pretty nuts, And I didn't really drink a lot at all. I like smoking pot back then. So I thought about it and I turned it down. Right. And then about a month later, I get a call from Sabbath. They said, we're on tour, Heaven and Hell tour. Bill Ward left the tour. We're stuck. We need a drummer. We're here. We're in town. We got 4 actual days off. You want to come down and meet Tony at the hotel in the L.A.? I live in L.A. I said, oh, okay, yeah, absolutely. So I went and met Tony. We hit it off really well. And he invited me to come play with the guys the next day. So I put my drums in my car, 4 toms and a bass drum and 3 cymbals. And I went down, we played. I heard Neon Nights on the radio, and I thought, well, I don't really know the song, but I knew it went all the way through and there was only one stop. So being a drummer, you could only worry about where is that stop. You don't have to keep the tempo going no matter what. And as it goes along, you play to it. But where's the stop? So that was the first song we ever played together. And then played a couple other things. I wasn't a big Sabbath fan where I knew all the songs. Obviously, I heard them, and I loved it. But I was more into Zeppelin, you know. So we played, and then they said, all right, you're in until Bill comes back. You know, I said, cool. So it spent the next 3 days just brainstorming these songs. And not with them so much, because the second day we rehearsed for 2 hours, and they went to the pub because they were so happy they found a drummer. And I'm there going, shit. So I worked with Jeff Nichols, the keyboard player, and we're working on the songs, listening to the songs on a Walkman. And that's how there was a lot of stress. And Tony was concerned that my drum set was too small, which it was. It was a small drum set because they have 4 stacks they have 4 stacks on either side. So Tony asked if I played double bass. I said no, but I can get more drums. So I called Ludwig. Dude, I'm playing with Sabbath. I need drums. So I put up some aerial toms up here and a bunch more floor toms, another rack tom, so it looked better. And then from each year then, it grew to the final tour, which I had 21 drums. Crazy. So that's how I got in the band. Then when we did the Mob Rules session at John Lennon's house, that kind of cemented me in the band more because we put together a new song together, and it's me, and it's on a record. So Bill comes back. It's kind of a strange thing, but Bill doesn't play other people's parts. So he would have to play Mob Rules. We play differently. So luckily, I stayed in the band. It was great.
That's awesome.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because you listen to Heaven and Hell, which is a great record, and then you hear the Mob Rules record, and it's like they took the faders and just went root. The drumming, because the drumming is just so. It's not only is it seems like it's louder, but just like the fills are more imaginative, and Bill Ward obviously great in his day, but just the Vinny touch that you put on it is just stellar playing.
Well, I'm like the fire, the engine in the band.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I love the way Bill plays, but Heaven and Hell's a little bit more back. You know, if you're a drummer, you're not going to listen so much to Heaven and Hell album to learn some new licks.
Right.
You know, I always learned that way. When I listened to Zeppelin, I wanted to learn what Bonham did, or my brother's stuff, or Mitch Mitchell, or Billy Cobham. And I always grew up thinking, when I make albums, I'm going to kick ass on them. So there's some things there people go, what was that? I want to learn what he did, you know, as a drummer. So, and that's just the way I played naturally. So yeah, there's just a little bit more energy in Mob Rules is what it comes down to be, you know, and a little more fire, you know.
Exactly.
So I kicked the gas a little more, and everybody excited, and we all played together well. We fit in together.
Yeah. Well, chemistry is such a monster part of this music. You know, I mean, of any. Do you have? I mean, and you know, without dogging anybody with it. I mean, because chemistry is so important. Do you? I mean, because you got to play with, obviously Geezer Butler and and Rex Brown, and you get to play with these monster players. Who was the fastest, or who was the easiest, the quickest gelling rhythm section that you?
You know what? They're all so good. When I joined Sabbath, Well, before that, I was with Derringer. I played with Kenny Aronson, who's a great bass player, a little bit more funk and rounded, not a heavy metal bass player. But we gelled together. I could adapt too, and listen to what somebody does and go, okay. So Giza was great. Geezer and I really gelled well together. Now he's a busier bass player than like Jimmy Bain or even Rex Brown. But
Yeah.
so that made me pull back a little bit, more groove more, and let him do his stuff, and then play with him, and and so it was all good. And then Jimmy Bain, playing with Jimmy was easy because he just laid it down. He wasn't a
Yeah.
technical player, boom, 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 and I could go fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And then Rex Brown, he's great sound and stuff, really heavy, and he wasn't that busy, so we gelled together very well. But he played so fucking loud, my skins would vibrate on the drums, and I'd go hit them, and they would be dead because they're vibrating. And I would tell Rex, dude, you got to turn down. I love it loud, but my whole body's vibrating. I've
That's
never seen
insane.
anybody blow out so many Ampeg amps as Rex.
Yeah.
But he's fun. He's a great guy. He's a real character and great bass player. So we played really well together. Yeah, it was cool.
And you've also played with. I mean, you played. I mean, Tony Iommi. I mean, just stop. I mean, for a metal guy, just mind-numbing how incredible this guy just keeps coming up with stuff. And but again, Zakk Wylde. And would you agree that Vivian Campbell is probably the most underrated?
Well, Tony's a whole world. I mean,
Yes.
Tony could hit a chord, and you could have somebody else hit that chord, and it's not going to sound the same. And the
Nope.
chord choices that Tony picked were totally heavy and evil, and he was real steady. That's the way playing with Tony and Geezer, I learned to play behind the beat, not rush it, right in the pocket, and it sounds heavier when it's in the pocket like that. If you're pushing it, certain songs, it's going to sound lighter that way. So I really learned how to play around Tony and Geese. When I get into these situations, I'm like, I don't walk in going, hey man, I'm Vinny, man. I walk in with my eyes open to learn. Like, what is Tony doing? I see where he's at. Okay. And I fit in, adjust myself to make it work, and see what he's doing and learn, and Geezer and then Ronnie. So Vivian, we got together and played with Vivian, Ronnie, I, and Jimmy for the first time, and Viv's on fire. It's such a great guitar player, and in Dio, he was a guitar hero. He was making his way as a guitar hero. So now I'm still playing with him now, and he's just amazing. He is probably underrated. And you hear him with Last in Line, our band, and he's shredding. He's ripping it. He can't get to do a lot of that in Def Leppard. It's a different type of band. But with us, he's shredding, man. And we're playing live. There's no backing track. There's nothing. And I get inspired by Viv, and then I go crazy and play off things, and he's wondering where one is sometimes. He looks at me, laugh, and I'll do a fill that's a bar and a half, and see a smile come on his face. But we make it in. We come back. So Viv's great.
That's
cool.
Oh.
So Viv, any plans for Last in Line rebooting once all this shit's over?
Absolutely. We're working on the second album. We got half of it done. So we're doing that. But we need to be in a room together to really finish it. Come up with we got a bunch of ideas for the last half, but we need to play them together. It's a big difference. And we don't send the files and all that shit. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
So hopefully in the next month or so, we'll start getting together. We got gigs booked. They're booking in October, but we're waiting to see what the schedule is for the Def Leppard stadium tour and what Def Leppard's going to do. And if there's a lot of time for us, then we're going to go out earlier and play. We'll play in between, you know. So we got to wait and see what happens, you know.
Right on.
I think the world is such a big mess right now. It's unbelievable. So,
Yeah, no question.
so I've
Let
been
me
doing
ask you
all
another-
this internet stuff.
Yeah.
My drum show, my show with Carmine. I've been doing tons of interviews with these records that just came out, and it's like becoming an internet musician. Amazing.
What's your biggest pet peeve? You're going on stage. Give me your biggest. What drives you nuts?
Somebody playing attitude. Believe it or not, I've been playing loud for 40 years, and my hearing's pretty fucked up. And but when we go on stage, I could hear every note, even in listening to our recordings or something. I could isolate all the instruments in my head. I could hear every note. So when we go on, if somebody's playing out of tune, I could hear it. You know, maybe because I'm sitting back here, but the monitors are loud. I don't use in-ears, but I hear it, and I'm like amazed. I'm not naming names, but going, look at me. I go, you're out of fucking tune. You don't hear that? You know?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
And that's happened a couple of times. Never with Sabbath, and it wasn't Sabbath, but that or Jam, or you go up and somebody's out of tune. I go, oh my God, how could you not hear? Then that makes me, how do you hear what you're playing with the band? You know, I hear everybody. I hear Viv. Matter of fact, I like when the amps are right behind my ears on the side. I don't like guitar amps ahead of me. I don't hear them. I like them a little behind me and the bass amp a little behind. So I could hear these guys. Then the vocal comes through the monitor and it's perfect. So we play tight. But that out-of-tune thing, man, it's just like, dude, crazy. That drives me nuts.
I agree.
I'm never out-of-tune.
No.
Right.
Not with the drums. It could be, but I don't let that happen. So.
What's your favorite city to play in, Vin?
Too many cities to choose. Like to say, what's your favorite? I've been around the world. I've been South America. I mean, the fans are great everywhere. South American fans are amazing. I go down there. I actually do this thing started by a fluke with a band in Ohio, and I'm going to be playing there in June. And we're going to call Vinny Appice Sabbath Nights with a K. And we play all the Sabbath stuff, mostly old, and then some stuff from my era and a little bit of Dio. And it went over so well, we wound up doing a couple of gigs in Ohio. Then I was asked to do it in Europe, and it wound up doing 25 shows, a whole tour. And people went nuts, because it's small venues, like 150, 200 people. And the bands were great. And then I wound up doing it in South America. And they're so, in Europe and South America, they love Dio and Sabbath. It's just passion. You can see the passion, and especially South America, the fans are so passionate,
Yeah.
So I have fun doing that. I love doing that. And I'm the dude. There's nobody known in the band, so I'm the guy. Blame me. But
The way it should be.
Not a lot of pressure. It's fun. It's just a lot of fun. Like we're gonna play all this old stuff and beat the shit out of it.
Give me one song. Can you tell me one song, money not included, just one song on this planet that you wish you'd played on?
Of anybody?
Anybody, ever.
Probably Immigrant Song. Like that.
I
wouldn't
love to
play
hear
Stairway to Heaven. Boring. Be sitting there the whole third of Now? No, not yet. Now. Yeah, I love Immigrant
Song.
Song.
That.
Or
I would love to hear that.
War Pigs too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I get up and jam. I live around wine country and a lot of friends that play. There's a lot of music down here in Old Town. And I'll get up and play sometimes. I seem to always play War Pigs and people go nuts, I got my own way to play it too. It's cool. So a little bit different. But
Nice.
those are two great songs.
You've got no idea how much this means to all of us, and I cannot thank you enough, Vinny. I'm just
Oh, thanks for having me, and I appreciate the press and stuff. And anybody wants to see more, check it out on Tuesday when I do the drum show.
yeah. We'll link to
And
that
I'll
in
tell you
this.
what. I mean, this the drums are there, right? And I got two Focusrite interfaces. It took about a month to learn how to get a big drum sound on Facebook. Because I've seen some drum things when this pandemic started, people doing streaming, and the drums sound like shit, and they're distorted, all that shit. And it took me, I wouldn't do it if it sounded like that. So it took about a month of experimenting. How does this work? Why doesn't I got all these mics. Why don't they go into Facebook through the interface? It doesn't work that way. So if you listen to or see the show, the drums sound really good.
They do,
It's
yeah.
a really good drum sound. So it took a long time to figure that out. So, because otherwise I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to sound like, some piece of shit sound with distortion and stuff.
Yeah, you can't get that. You can't push that across.
No, like this. And this drum company, Sawtooth, it's a newer company. My friend owns it, and they make guitars, they make everything. And these are like not even expensive drums, and they sound great. They sound fantastic. That bass drum kicks ass. Where are you, Patrick? Are you in the States, or where are you?
Yeah, we're all in Houston.
Oh, okay, you're the only one that's blurry.
Oh yeah, I've had a lot of coffee. I'm probably not sitting still.
He's actually vibrating so fast you can't see him.
Are you next to Rex Brown? Is he playing? And you're at a fucking camera shaking?
I can hear him. Yeah.
Well, he's in Dallas. So.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Eesh.
I love the Mexican. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love Mexican food, and where I live, they're okay. But when I go down to Texas, I went with Rex. A couple places he took me, and I went, yeah. Some of that salsa is so hot. I went, yeah. This is the way it should be. Love that. Yeah. Here it's like, okay, and we keep trying different ones. And
Vinny, if it's all right, if we could, I'd like to send you, a shirt, a mug, stuff like that. Just actually, I could probably slip some salsa in there, some good hot salsa, if you'd like.
There you go, buddy. Now I'm your friend.
I'd love to send you some. So if it's all right with you, after we get this done,
send me an email, and I'll give you an address to send to. Yeah, that would be fun. Love that stuff. When was that?
That was at NAMM, 2013, I think, 14.
Oh wow,
a while ago. Sorry,
it was weird this year. There was no NAMM. We did the NAMM. We did the NAMM show in 2020. This year we couldn't do it, but the year before.
Right.
And the drum company Sawtooth had a booth, and we were off to the side. We were the party of the whole place. There was always something going on, and they kept coming to us and complaining. And every time I played, the sound police came. And after a while, I brought the guy on stage. I went, "Look at this guy. What? We're playing some fucking Black Sabbath. You want to play like with brushes?" But we were the life of the place. That it just tore it up. It was so funny. We had hundreds of people in front of the stage, and you're not supposed to really do that, but we did it, and it was so much fun. But this year we couldn't do it, so maybe next year. Sawtooth booth.
Yeah, it's all coming back.
Yeah, so I'm actually painting my my other room in there. So I used to have my studio in the smaller room. There's a bedroom there, and then this is a pretty big room, and I was killing the neighbors too. The houses the next house is that way, even though it was a little soundproofing going on. But finally I said, you know what? I'm going to go move into the big room. So I love it here. I guess so. Before, every time I got up off the drums, I'm stepping on wires. I'm banging into mic stands. I pulled the headphone cable out. I said, enough. So we moved into here, put a whole bunch of blankets up, moving blankets, and so cool. So now we're taking care of the other room, filling I made so many holes in the wall. We filled that and painting. I like doing this stuff.
Yeah.
You guys want to come over and help me paint? You're more than welcome.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll be there. Great job, Eric.
I like putting people together.
Yeah. What a gentleman. Oh my God. Vinny fucking Appice, are you kidding me? So we not only took a historic walk through rock and roll royalty, but he did not look away. He did not look at the time. He did not look like he wanted to run. He didn't call for help. He didn't go, he agreed to do that and just 100% in it. So not only are we, eternally grateful, but also just want to say big thanks to Eric for putting this together. Eric has emailed him a while ago and put this, so good job, young man. And I want to thank everybody for listening. And if you have friends that are fans, please share this or, send them to the site to have a look and listen. And we're just as you can tell, beyond giddy, beyond grateful.
I could have, I had so many other questions I wanted to ask, but I didn't want to take up the whole hour.
The funny thing is that, he said he played on John Lennon's last live performance.
Mm-hmm.
He also played on Dio's last live performance.
Oh yeah.
Get a gig with Vinny, beware.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What a I mean, we don't, you just can't get into all the stuff that he's done. You can't, you just have to take a snapshot of, portions of it and live with that, because you would keep him here all day. If I had gone through every question that I wanted to ask young Vinny, I could fill up 2 hours, because I want to know, just thrilling to talk to him. Man.
The story about him and Dio going through London trying to find a guitar player when they were starting the band is fucking hilarious. But I mean, we didn't get to it, but
yeah,
it's next time.
Well, what I would advise, if you're halfway interested, even if you're only slightly interested, I would look him up, type in Vinny Appice and go listen to his interviews, because he's like this all the time. Every interview I've seen, unless the people interviewing him are trying to be wankers, or they're trying to be, that smug, that kind of, well, I've got a question, but it's about in 1973 when you don't, just ask the question. Don't try to be, don't try to be. So he is, in every interview I've seen, he's so forthcoming and he's so honest, and the stories match. They match because he's a big musician. He's a commanding presence when he's down behind the drums, and and Eric, we talked about this too. Your vocabulary when we play is, that's why I was talking about chemistry. When you know what somebody's going to play like and how they're going to drive you, how your drummer's going to stay, it is beyond glorious. It's beyond any feeling that any emotion you've ever had, because it's a language that you just didn't know that you had. And so hearing him talk, why he is such a sought after monster,
Yeah, absolutely. I was I got him to talk about him dropping out of high school when he was playing with John Lennon, because I only found that story in one other interview he did at a conference or something, and it's the audience is talking over him, and it's the audio is just really bad, so you can't barely hear what he's saying. So
not on SlapperCast,
not here. Yeah. In that interview too, he goes, and then we fired John Lennon. Said, no, I'm just trying to see if they're paying attention.
Yeah.
So, but I love it. I was just like, you couldn't ask him too many questions, really. He's just so, like you say, he's just so generous.
So I thoroughly enjoyed that, and I'm a little bit shaking in my boots.
So yes, please come and join us on Blaggards.com. You'll be able to sign up with us at Reward Music, which is our new sort of subscription membership service, where there's going to be a lot of exclusives, similar to Patreon, but a little bit little bit better organized. There's more sort of social media type interactions there. And like we said last week, we've got new shirts that you can go and buy on the website right now.
Yeah. Just let's go. We'll see you all on Paddy's Day and beyond.
All righty.
Check the website for all the dates, locations, times, etc.
Yeah. Remember, say no to drugs unless you're sharing.
All right. Sit and stop.
And how's everybody feeling? Everybody still good? Water still on? Electricity still working? All that kind of crap?
Yeah. Yeah. It's going well. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Having everything working for a change.
Yeah. Yeah. Unlike a rock and roll band.